What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and give you guys a realistic estimate for where I see the share price of Tesla going this year. I'm also going to answer the question, can we actually run past $2,000? Is that actually possible? Can we actually do that? And where do I see the share price going? Now, before I get into any more details and talk about all this data, I do have to mention a couple of very important things first. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please do not take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you do sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're not only going to qualify for up to 5 free stocks, each worth up to $3,500, but you're also going to get a free NEO share. So if you want a free NEO share, check out the offer down below. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at this right over here, guys, Tesla is just killing it. They just blew all expectations out of the water. When we were looking at the chart, we had major resistance, or at least previously over the last, I would say, month or so. We saw so much resistance at these ranges from the $886 range to $887 and $900, and we just flew past everything like they did not even exist. And this thing looks like it wants to run really hard. Now, the question is, how high are we going to go on the next run up? Now, our next level of resistance is the $925 range, which I think we could easily beat. And that would bring us, or at least give us lots of room, to the $940 range up until the $962. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came that high very soon. I am still very bullish. But the question is, now how high may we end up going? Because a lot of people are wondering about that. Now, a big announcement that I have is the fact that we have some major events coming out, as we are finding a Model Y fleet at the Giga Berlin factory for Tesla. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. Deliveries are coming out very soon. I'm so excited, guys. So mark your calendars. March 22nd is going to be the day at which we start to see more information coming out about this and potentially the first deliveries. That's going to be massive for the company. I'm super pumped and excited, and this is going to be a major catalyst for the long-term future. Now, another thing about that is the fact that we are seeing a big estimate coming out from Morgan Stanley and many big analysts out there for Tesla. So a man named his name is Adam Jonas. He is actually one of the top Wall Street analysts. He stated the fact that he thinks that Tesla's revenue is going to beat that of GM and Ford combined in the next 5 years. Now, I have to note, guys, I still have a liking towards GM and Ford. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they can produce amazing cars. I also respect them for entering the EV sector. But the thing is, they are entering the game a little bit later, or quite later, than Tesla. And even though I have a liking towards all these companies, let's be real, guys. Tesla is on top. They are already prepared with all these gigafactories. They're getting ready. They're already producing over 1 million cars per year, and they're just going to kill it. We're probably going to see them produce around, I would say, well over 1.6 million this year, maybe even like way more than that, right? They can easily shatter that and maybe make it as high as 2 million by, I would say, the year after, maybe even like way sooner. But anyways, you get my point. They are going to absolutely kill it. And one of the things that we're noticing is, based off what this analyst is saying, we're seeing a sheer increase in Tesla's potential market share in this particular earnings, right? So we're seeing the revenue. This is going to be the revenue growth, right? Their share of the revenue. It's actually going up, and it's projected to keep on increasing for the next decade. And that's because of the fact that, not that other companies have high revenue, but it's also because of the fact that Tesla's revenue is getting better and better, which is why you could easily argue that it could become a multi-trillion-dollar company in terms of its market cap. Now, one of the things that's also important is Morgan Stanley is saying in the near term they can see Tesla going to 1,300. That's within the next 12 months, I believe. So that's a good target. But then here's the thing about that. Do you actually think we're just going to stop at 1,300? I mean, to me, that's kind of a conservative estimate. We may even go much higher than that this year. Now, another really big thing is the fact that, like I said, many other big outlets are reporting the same thing. The fact that they have such a big share and in the market, and on top of that, as the revenue increases, they're improving the efficiency of their production. So one of the things that they've been doing is they're building their cars with less parts, less materials. They're using this casting system where they cast all the parts together so that they could build them a lot more quick. So they're taking these chassis and they're putting them together, and they're doing it way quicker, right? So when they do this, it's going to boost their production per day, production per week, production per month, and they're doing this with all the different factories because they could experiment with these different factories. So they're going to find out, okay, which means of production is going to be better, which one is actually more efficient. And the more factories they have, the more efficient they become because they have billions of dollars in cash to be working with. So the company is just a monster, super super bullish. And the question is, how high are we going to go? And this is where we have to get very serious about some things going on in the world and our economy. So this is the essentially next or remainder of the year that I have from here to here. So what I think is going to happen is, as we run up to like 1200, as we because eventually we should be running up, because it does look like we're entering that bull market, and the market's looking really strong right now. I mean, if I actually switch off to the IWM real quick, people are anticipating a squeeze like event coming out for these small to mid caps. And I'm not saying they're all going to just squeeze in that context. I'm saying there's going to be a lot of bullish momentum because of that, because the IWM has been heavily shorted, and we do see Marge calling pretty soon, guys. I mean, margin calls, but you guys get my point. It looks pretty good. Now, I see the SPY. Let me bring up the SPY. Spine's looking pretty good too. Really, really bullish as well. I do anticipate a bit of a pullback before it starts to really rip. And that's going to be very, very good for these small to mid caps and also Tesla. So for Tesla, don't forget we have earnings in the month of April. We have the Texas Gigafactory coming out. We have the German Gigafactory. We have all these big things. We have all this bullish news coming out. And next year we have the Cybertruck. So much bullish news is coming. So what I predict is this. I know you guys love to hear these, price targets of Tesla going to 100,000 a share, Tesla going to 10,000. Well, we're currently at 900, and we have to be very realistic given the market cap of this thing, because right now the market cap of Tesla is it's approaching the 1 trillion mark, right? We're currently at the 900 billions. So we're doing well, but the problem is we're going to be hit by resistance at particularly high levels. Now, many people are anticipating a recession to be starting in the USA as interest rates are starting to go up. But just because there's a recession, it does not mean that the stock market has to crash. That's the thing that I think a lot of people get wrong. It does not mean that. There have been recessions where the market actually still stayed afloat. In fact, that's about like half of them from the past like 100 years. But anyways, let me draw this out for you guys. So if Tesla's right here in the 900s, what could end up happening is we could run to like $1,000 a share. I don't know if it's going to take a few weeks. It may take a couple of weeks for us to get there, perhaps sometime in April. We could be in the 1000s because we have so many bullish catalysts from the Cybertruck, not the Cybertruck, the new factories coming out, their new means of production. It's going to be very, very huge. That could actually push us to the $1,000 range. Now, once we get there, and it also depends on the current state of the market, because there are some political tensions. We are seeing lots of headlines involving the virus coming back. So I want to just be careful when telling you guys that. But what could end up happening is we slowly start to ascend, especially as we heat up, especially as we have new earnings coming out, because the earnings could push us up to like maybe almost 1100. And then as we slowly begin to run up, this thing could easily soar back to like the 1200. This thing is like a monster as their numbers get better and better. And as this thing gets ready to run, what's going to happen is, if we do enter a recession like stage, if these things come into effect, inflation is going to have an effect too. It could actually kind of slow us down a little bit. I have to be realistic with you guys. That's not a bad thing, so to speak. It's not the end of the world. It just means this thing is going to grow, but maybe not as fast as it would have without this recession and without these global tensions, because current global situations did bring the share price down. It is possible. It does depend on the news. But anyways, I do anticipate this thing could keep on running. Now, what could end up happening is, as we enter the second half of the year, as we start to see these squeeze events take place, this thing could keep on running past its all-time high and just keep on going. I would anticipate maybe it could go as high as 1350, and slowly but surely it could just keep going and keep going and keep going. But because of, alternate factors and other things like that, we could be stopped at around maybe the 1500s. That could be the high for the year. Maybe I would anticipate us trading kind of like that, the $1,500 to $1,600 range. And then what could end up happening is we enter a phase where we see a lot more sideways action before we kind of continue. But for the end of the year, I would be surprised if we went as high as 2000. I just don't think we're going to go that high this year. I have to be realistic with you guys, but I definitely believe we could break that sometime next year by perhaps Q1 or Q2. We definitely can, in my opinion. And I do see a lot more steady growth coming out in the future. I don't think we're just going to go straight up to the moon in like one day. I see it being a lot more steady than just, straightforward. But what I think is, we're going to trade a little bit like this. We could go a little bit higher, maybe just like that. But closing the year, I do anticipate us to just stay within this range. And then next year, when next year comes, right? If I go a little bit more forward, that's when we're going to really see the growth that I am talking about. It's not going to show as much this year, but next year, 2020, that's going to be a massive, massive year for this company. And I do anticipate more and more and more really bullish price action for that year. So for $2,000 a share, I'm not quite sure if we're going to break it this year. I'm actually a little bit doubtful, but I do think that it is very possible for Tesla to break past 2000 by next year. Sometime, I would say, before mid next year, I do think we can break it. I'm very, very bullish, and I'm not going to sleep on this company. Now, the thing about this, though, is the market is still a little bit capricious. It really depends on global situations. But I do think that for the short term or the near term, we found our bottom and we are ready to rally. I think the bulls, they're gaining lots of control, and the bears have been exhausted, and the algos are switching. So it's looking really good. I'm very excited. I can't wait for what the future holds. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.